We're now continuing on page 30, looking at distribution this time. I'm going to delete this one, and I've got a group of images here. There's a number of them. Just expand a little, and then I'm going to spread them out. Now, I've deliberately put the green one at the top of the stacking order, and the big purple one at the bottom there is at the bottom of the stacking order. Now, I've done that for a deliberate reason to help us actually see the effects of distribution. Whenever you select a group of objects, or I should say a number of individual objects, you'll find this option becomes available on the property bar, Align and Distribute. If for some very strange reason you can't see it, you can select those, come up to Arrange and come to Align and Distribute, and you'll also see the same option right there, Align and Distribute. In fact, you can see there are all of the same options we're about to look at are available in this menu, as when we click here, up comes the Align and Distribute dialog box, which we've looked at already. So I'll place it there for convenience. When I deselect, you'll notice everything grays out. See that? And we can't really use the box until we select everything. Well, we've looked at Align, so now we're going to look at Distribute. And effectively, Distribute means to space a set of objects an equal distance apart, effectively, which is what we've done there, for example. Well, right now I've got a number of individual objects. They're all over the place, and I want to evenly space them. So I'm going to use one of these options here for horizontal spacing. I would use these for vertical spacing. So if, for example, I were to use this option here, you'll notice the little dotted line indicates the left-hand side of the object and the left-hand side of the other object. But what other object? See, it depends on what we have here, extent of selection or extent of page. Effectively, when you select a number of objects, as I've done here, the objects that are furthest or to the edge of your selection, to the extent, which is the green one and the purple one, they will be used as the objects upon which all of the spacing will be based. So if we just click Apply right now, in fact, I'll choose this option here, Spacing. I always work with spacing. It's from the inside of both of the outside objects. Click Apply. All of those stars are now perfectly spaced apart. They have the same distance from the center to the center, from the center to the center, and so on. It's not obvious because they're not perfectly aligned, and that's why it looks kind of odd. So if we went back to Align tab, hit Center Horizontal, click Apply, you can now see the perfect spacing. Can you see that? So it doesn't matter what size your objects are, they can be perfectly spaced apart. Okay? Well, if I undo that, Control Z, and we'll go back to Distribute, I also want to show you vertical spacing. So we'll just select vertical, unselect that one, click Apply. Now, it doesn't really look like much has happened, does it? Let's undo that. You'll notice that if I were to pull down a guideline, it's highly likely that one of those two stars there is the extent of the selection. Certainly that star is at the bottom, and I'm not sure which one of those it is. So let me just move one up to make it obvious. Select them all again and click Apply. Now they've been spaced based on those objects at the extent of selection. Let's go back to Alignment and align vertical center, click Apply, and now you can see it was that star at the bottom and the star at the top. A little hard to see in that circumstance, but I think you get the idea. Back to Distribute again. The way that I tend to use things like this is I will select whatever it is I want to work with. I'll select spacing, turn that one off, go back to Align, select horizontal alignment, do the two together, and that's my end result. The only other thing I want to show you about distribution is extent of page. If you were to select extent of page and click Apply, my page, if I zoom out here, Shift F4, my page is actually there like that. I've got a rather unusually sized page, and I've got the page border turned off. But right now the stars are effectively touching the border of my page on the left and right side. If we undo that, Control Z, and we were to go with, say, vertical spacing, click Apply, and again we need to align them center, and click Apply. As you can see, they are now moving to the extent of my page, top and bottom. And again, I have a rather large page that you can't see there. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to show you. And we're going to use that in a moment as we look at our amplifier. So in many ways, just play with that a little bit. what you've seen there, but you're going to see it all come alive as we now do the amplifier.